in December 2023, it's just changed drastically my business.
Yeah, and we're going to talk all about it. And out of curiosity, of all the things that you've tried in the couple of years that you've been doing this to get listings, what has proven to be the best way for you?
The phone. I mean, I literally, my whole first year, not one single listing appointment, not one preview, nothing. Didn't do anything. Was just working buyers, working rentals. And literally, like my first couple months since joining the program, I was going on so many, maybe not qualified appointments, but just getting in front of people, sellers, and just learned so much. Just calling, talking to people, meeting with people. That taught me way more.
Why do you think? And thank you for that, by the way. Why do you think that? The industry doesn't promote that type of work, that it took you to go out there on your own to find a coach to work with. And why do you think brokers don't support it more? And why do you think people are actually being, steered away from it, so to speak, when it's so effective? And everybody every week comes on the show and says the exact same thing. I tried all these other things, but nothing was as good as me actually picking up the phone and calling people. And when I do that, I get in front of a ton of people. What's going on here?
Maybe I
Yeah, I would say it's a mix of everything, right? I mean, there's so many, like we talk about, shiny objects, open houses. There's different lead sources that all these brokerages offer, saying you'll get all these leads with us. You'll get all these leads with our group and everything like that. And I think there's a lot of shiny object, and then also people not realizing that it's an actual sales job at the end of the day, and having voice-to-voice conversations with people is the real thing that's going to get you in front of people, get you listings. So I think it's a mix of that, and I think people don't show the behind the scenes. People always show the house is getting sold, everything, but they don't show what's actually happening behind the scenes, all the calling, the hard work that's actually done, and they think just everything comes to them. And of course, that's a complete opposite.
Great point. Ben and I just shot a podcast this morning talking about that very point, that probably somewhere between 80 to 90% of the work that we do as real estate salespeople has nothing to do with houses. It has zero to do with the actual client and the selling of a house. It has to do with prospecting, lead generation, and actually acquiring clients to serve. Which, to your point, I think what you're saying is that when new agents come into the business, they can't wrap their head around that. They get into the business thinking only about the client work, which again is only a very small portion of what we do. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that's 100% what people see. They think just all the clients supposed to come to you, and you're not supposed to do any outreach, and okay, my time will come. People have been in business 10, 15 years. There's no way they ever picked up a phone and actually cold call.
Yeah.
Takes time.
Yeah. So it'd be safe to say that the way that you're getting business, and give us an idea of where your production level is at these days.
Last year I closed 15 deals. A little over half of them were all from cold calls, expireds. Majority of them were expireds. And GCI was about 175 last year, first year, cold calling, all of that. And that's been the majority of my business, but I've been leaning more towards circle prospecting, especially the last 6 months, because a lot of the expired and canceled appointments I go on, it's a real fight for commission in my markets.
Yeah.
You can handle the objection, you can handle it in a certain way, providing value, but at the end of the day, it's sometimes hard when a listing agent's willing to go for 1%.
Yeah.
So circle prospecting appointments have been a lot smoother, easy to just get right to the point, go over them out. It's a real fight for commission in my markets.
Yeah.
You can handle the objection, you can handle it in a certain way, providing value, but at the end of the day, it's sometimes hard when a listing agent's willing to go for 1%. So circle prospecting appointments have been a lot smoother, easy to just get right to the point, go over the analysis, get your 3% commission. No arguments about that. So, and I'm on good pace this year so far.
It's great. So you made $175,000 your first year in this business, and you did it because you finally bought into this idea that you are a sales professional, that you do need to prospect every day, you need to work on your skills. We'll talk all about that in just a minute. Before we do that, what did you try that didn't work? Was there something that stands out to you? And I'm not looking for like the right answer. I'm genuinely asking, of all the things that are thrown at agents and all of us with all these different voices, what did you try that you were like, I cannot believe people, try to do this to get clients?
Yeah, I think you preach this a lot too. I think you can make a lot of money in any specific thing, but you have to kind of go all in on that. Like open houses, you can make a lot of money doing open houses, but you have to be doing open houses 5 days a week. I was doing that. I was probably doing open houses, not going all in. I was doing that once or twice a week. I wasn't getting a lot out of it because I wasn't putting the time and effort that needed to happen. And a lot of things, at least for my company, offer a lot of leads, and a lot of people are stuck in this deal-to-deal, transaction-to-transaction business, where they'll sell $1 million house, they'll get a commission like it's a $300,000 property, and they'll be fighting for the next deal.
Don't know if you know this, but I've trained a lot.
These leads and all that, and I think that's where people get stuck in this cycle, where they just keep fighting for that next lead and not actually getting out the business of these bigger transactions where it's your SOI.
Now, when we're at dinner, I just give my husband that little look, right, after my couple glasses of wine, and he just pops his little mint, and then by the time we get back home, it's like, ugh, I'm 23 all over again. Explain to me, Rougiette?
All right, it's time to get to work.
Totally. So let's get tactical. Let's break down your business for a second. So we want to have like a behind the scenes look into like what Biz does to build this listing agent business. So let's just start at the beginning. You mentioned circle prospecting, but I want to try to like break that down a little bit more. So can you break down the different lead sources that you're going after? And when you say circle prospecting, does that mean anything specifically? Or are you literally just drawing a circle, and then just hitting the dial, and then just you get what you get, or is it something else?
Yeah, so I do, like I mentioned, expires, cancels, and circle prospecting. I do downsizers in Virginia. This market's very competitive, Northern Virginia. I mean, calling downsizers, calling that area is almost like calling expired.
Really?
Yeah, it really is. I'll just say some calls, it's truthfully like, yeah, we're not busy. So I do downsizers still. I think they're still a really good lead source. But oddly enough, I like pulling properties that have been built between 2010 and 2020. There's a lot of new construction, a lot were built back then. And a lot of people didn't have agents most times when they're buying properties. And a lot of people are calling 20-plus-year-old properties, but I think there's some hidden gems in those where people are looking to upsize, relocate. So I've got a lot of good leads calling between those two areas.
That's smart, super smart. Where have you found, like I know, like most agents, you probably have tried a few different data companies, but where in your market are you finding the best data sources to get contact information for these homeowners?
Yeah, I've used a lot. The best one I've found is just using Mojo's neighborhood search, and then I'll use PropWire, pull downsizers, and then I'll upload those downsizers into Mojo. And I'll just use Mojo skip trace because in my market at least, Mojo skip trace is actually pretty good, but personally I think that all varies depending on the marketplace.
It's great. And so now,
actually, sorry, Brandon. Expires and cancels. I don't know if you heard of Forewarn. Yeah, Forewarn goes every single morning to get real, complete, direct numbers. And I handpick all my expires every morning. It might be only 5, 6, but I get in touch with those people, 80% of the time. And I think that goes a long way because My Plus Leads, Mojo, they have all those numbers, but some of those are bad numbers. Also, some of those are bad expired at 30. And you might be talking to an expired that I talked to at 7:45 at 8:15. So I'm already ahead of the game by 30 minutes.
No doubt. So, like, there's the first tactical takeaway for everybody that's listening and watching is that you're right. It doesn't matter where you're getting your data from, we'll call it maybe 3 or 4 or 5 companies, and you come in and you start prospecting the new expired cancel withdrawals at first thing in the morning. First off, there's a lot of numbers you got to sit. So you're just taking it a step further to do an extra step of skip tracing. to hand pick, we call it no sniper mode, right? Hand pick, hand select the very best expired opportunities, one that Reese thinks that he can sell, and then you go after those directly. You're just hand dialing those, correct?
Yep, correct. Yeah. So like I know we talked about in our group regarding canceling in the afternoon, evening. I just do that the same thing, just in the mornings, but specifically expires and came up. Just allows me to get better contact ratios with that.
Love it.
That all you got?
So let's break down your prospecting like morning. That's when you do your prospecting. So, how much time are you spending in proactive lead generation? This thing we call prospecting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing with a role play partner, 720, 745. I'm at it at the gym. I'm at bed at 4:40. And then I'm still finally getting home after the gym, eating breakfast, role playing at 720, 745. I'm on the phones from 7:45. I like to do 45-minute power sprints, like you mentioned before. It really helps me just stay focused when I'm dialing and keep it focused just purely on that. So I do that from 7:45 to 11. Take like 5-10 minute breaks in between, and then right at 11, I'm pretty much off the phone and just eating my lunch. And then I'm really specific on my time blocking because it helps me stay focused, organized, almost like it's a 9 to 5. But it helps me stay consistent.
I can't wait to fight you in this form.
And then after admin, I'm doing some follow-ups. I'm normally calling between 3 to 5, and I'm using the last hour at 5 to 6 to hit some more follow calls that people might have missed on that hit.
Love it. I love it. The number one thing, and you hear it all the time here on these coaching calls every week, the number one thing people struggle with is consistency. How do I stay consistent, and how do I fight distractions? As you're getting into this business, I think you're learning that, like, the superpower of the ultimate achievers is discipline and focus. Like, the person who can actually stay focused in the morning is going to win the game. So, for you, what are some things maybe you can share?
Wondering if you can e-file if you owe taxes? This edition of Tax Tips by TurboTax will explain how you can file and pay online. Filing your federal income tax return online is convenient. You can e-file whether you owe taxes or getting a refund. If you end up owing taxes with your return, the IRS offers several payment methods you can choose from. For the option that won't charge you a dime, you can authorize an electronic funds withdrawal directly from your bank account. With TurboTax, you can easily set up an account withdrawal when you're ready to file. Just be sure to schedule it by your return due date to avoid potential interest and penalties. Alternatively, you can use your credit or debit card to pay at the same time you e-file your return. Keep in mind that all credit and debit card payments are processed by private companies that charge a fee. These fees vary, but are typically a percentage of your payment. You also have the option to make a credit or debit card payment by phone after you e-file for a fee.